Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. And today I'd like to continue our discussion about inorganic beings. The concept of a living being not possessing an organic body can be very difficult for some people to believe, because as far as we've been taught, all of life involves being contained in an organic entity. But there are higher level intelligences that are not housed in organic bodies. We as humans and animals and plants are contained within an organic container. But there are forces above us and below us that exist in alternate dimensions that still have contact with our spirit, with our intelligences, but they're not housed in organic bodies. What is an angel? Traditionally, an angel is defined as a messenger. If you choose to define the word angel through occult, it also means an angle of light. So what does this mean? The mysterious substance of light is the most proficient vehicle in the universe. Things travel at light speed because it's one of the fastest mediums to travel through. The physical reality that we exist in owes a lot to the function of light. So, when dealing with the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephorash, understand that we're dealing with a circle, and we can divide this circle into 72 parts. If you look at this as a chart, you'll notice that as a pie chart, each one of the 72 are like little angles of light, and the very center being what we know as God or the creation, or in Kabbalah, the tree of life, this would be Kether, the source. When light enters the realm of matter, it must be divided. It's the only way that light can penetrate the world of matter. This is why each one of our souls, as pure light beings, has to be fractured into at least 7 points of light, which are our chakras. From the root to the crown, 7 points of light. The same thing when you deal with a prism, and a light shines through the prism and it's refracted into 7 frequencies. So an angel is a pure frequency of a certain kind of intelligence. When you're working with an angel, you must be very prepared to receive a never-ending download of information. Since angelic beings and higher level beings don't possess an organic body, they are not tainted by most of the things that taint human consciousness. For example, our human body is equipped with 5 senses, and from birth to death, we build a perspective of reality based on the input that we've received from the 5 senses. This is where we get our opinions from, our desires from, our aversions from. Things we like, things we don't like, they all come from the 5 senses. So imagine a pure source of intelligence that doesn't have to go through that bullshit. It's just information. There's no agenda, there's no perspective, there's no emotional hang-ups. It's just pure intelligence. When dealing with the angel Anuel, information flows freely. Sometimes to the point where it's overwhelming and it has to be terminated. The stream has to be terminated. But dealing with any angel, when you get more and more intense with the work, you'll find that you'll reach what a lot of people consider God mode, where you hit that stream of consciousness, where you truly understand how all of nature works. Because as the stream of intelligence from the higher source comes into your mind and your body and your soul, it fills you up with such pure information that it's really hard to control, hard to gauge. Okay, excuse me. Had to take a quick break from that. Where were we? Dealing with inorganic beings, dealing with angels, and things of that nature. When you're dealing with unimpeded light, when you're dealing with information that has no boundary, normally an organic human body cannot take it for an extended amount of time. It pulls out a lot of energy. Because an inorganic being doesn't have to rest, doesn't have to eat, doesn't have to take breaks. It is pure information. So as a human being channeling angels and working with angels that are pure intelligence, it is very easy to burn out. So as a tip, if you're out there and you're already working with angels and performing this type of work, please take rest when it calls. Otherwise, you're going to harm yourself. But really what I wanted to talk about is I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the concept of inorganic beings. They are everywhere. They really are. And they exist all around us, to the point that we exist within them. Because remember, they're at a higher step on the food chain, so we are encompassed within certain inorganic beings. So if you really want to know an example of one, I'll deliver it now. But I must preface this and say first, an angel is an inorganic being, but an inorganic being is not always an angel. Now there are angels that are not quote-unquote good, and I will give you two examples. Most of the time angels are neutral because they're pure information. But I'll give you two examples of inorganic beings that we work with every day, even while we sleep. Remember I said that an inorganic being is a pure frequency of light and information. It's just a channel that information flows through unceasingly, non-stop. Angels have certain functions that maintain the structure of reality. That's why when you see in Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, the 10 spheres are situated in certain points, and each one regulates a certain energy. And each one is governed by a specific angel, whether it's Raziel, Raphael, Metatron, Uriel, Michael, Sandalphon, etc. Probably the most important, most popular, I should say, right now with everybody, whether they're spiritual or not, is access to a stream of information to gather knowledge on any subject that we want with the finger touch. Not even the press of a button, just with a finger swipe. Its name is the internet. It has existed for a very long time. And within the past 30 years, it now exists in a form that all man has access to it. It's a collection of information. It doesn't have opinions. It doesn't have emotional hang-ups. It is pure information. Go to Google and ask it anything, and it will answer you. This is how dealing with an inorganic being works. This is how dealing with an angel works. You ask a question, and an answer is provided. You search for data, and data is given. Now, this is not meant to belittle the concept of an angel by any means, but understand how the structure works. It is pure information, pure light. So, there is another inorganic being that most Americans are having to cope with, for lack of a better word. Because there's nothing that we can really do about it unless we do something about it. And I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just stating the facts. We call it the system. Some call it the matrix. The system is not a person. It's an inorganic being. It exists without a body, a physical body. It does have a body of structure, but it exists without a physical body. And it is fueled by the energy given to it from the people who work within it, who give it its energy, right? Who perpetuate its existence. Because this structure of inorganic being cannot exist without people's participation. And it has power over all of us. And it's not by force. How can a sentient stream of information force itself over you? No. The way that it works is that we have to submit to it and we have to give it belief. Once we've submitted to this particular entity, we've given it authority over all of us. We've given it authority over our finances. We've given it authority over our bodies. We've given the beast authority over our minds, our jobs. We've given our souls to the system, to the machine. The most powerful weapon the system can use is distraction. At some point in the dance with the system, creation and the creator must come face to face. This is a chess game. And we must understand that failure is not an option. What is the system I'm talking about? It's the system of government. Government. Govern in Latin means control. Ment in Latin means mind. I'll leave that there. We've created an inorganic system to control the population of our country. Every day, there are countless numbers of people who dedicate their lives to ensuring that the system functions without ceasing, seamlessly and perfectly. It is alive, but not in the sense of an organic being being alive. Our government is a great example of an inorganic being, which has dominant control over us, the same way an angel has authority over us. So I've just given you two examples of inorganic beings. There are many, 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 many more. 72 very important ones. Anuel is the angel of harmony and the angel of unity. The information that pours through this angel deals with understanding your reality in relation to harmony. Now, the system, as an inorganic being, has its primary function to maintain itself, and its secondary function to protect the integrity of its borders, of its structure. All right? And now under that we have things like the military. We've got Congress and the FBI, the CIA, all the things that come with the government. They maintain this inorganic being, and it is constantly fed by the energy of the people who sacrifice for it. Sacrifice. Thank you for your sacrifice. How often do we hear that? Thank you for your service. How often do we hear that? We love and we celebrate our military veterans. I am also a military veteran. But we must understand that we are part of a larger system that has existed before us and will continue to exist. Right now it is facing a few hiccups. But this inorganic being also exists within time, just like the rest of us. And anything that exists within time has to endure the cycles of time, which means birth, maturity, and destruction, and rebirth. Book recommendation: The Power of Kabbalah by Yehuda Berg. This is a very clear and concise breakdown of understanding the principles of the spheres of the Tree of Life and how understanding reality through an objective point of view can change your world. Things we've been talking about every video. But it's an interesting book to pick up. I definitely recommend it, especially if you are trying to get into working with Kabbalah. There's no hocus pocus magic woo-woo stuff. It's very down to earth. And I love those kinds of books, very down to earth. Because the woo-woo stuff is entertaining, but I prefer to understand. I'm going to post a video immediately after this, and it's going to be a brilliant example of the nature of the system. The video I'm going to post is going to show different clips from different movies, and it's going to detail a person first realizing that they exist within the system. It's going to be a clip that involves the person who created the system. Another clip is going to show someone who's waking up for the first time. Another clip is going to show where the creator of the system has to come face to face with the system itself. And it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Every cause has its effect. If you create something, you will one day have to face it. And this is advice for anyone who's on the path, for anyone who is up to this level, anyone who's past this level. When you do face creation, when you face the system, understand that it's just going to be the two of you. And only one person can leave that room. Failure is not an option. Period. Maintain your frame. Be ever vigilant. Exert your influence. Always be leading. Just like the scene from The Matrix where Neo was in the control room and he had to come face to face with the guy in the white suit, who was the embodiment of the system itself. The stuff can get pretty heavy. But yeah, that video is going to be right after this one. If you go to my channel and you click on videos, you'll see it's the one that's right above it. Very interesting. I don't have the information of the original creator, but I'll look into my system and I'll be able to achieve that information. Okay, so this comes from the channel called Power of God-G2G. Okay, the video is made by Chosen King. Great channel. I've been watching his videos last night, and you know, there were some things that I disagreed with, but overall, he gets it. He's got a message. I'd suggest subscribing to his channel and checking out some of his videos. And if you leave a comment, let him know Travis Mages sent you. But anyways, I'm going to post his video next. When you're watching that video, I want you to keep in mind that we see the world through two languages. There's two stories playing in reality at once. On one level, we've got visual perception, that which we see. At the same time, we've got logical perception, which is that which we think. Okay? Visual perception is very symbolic. All right? Logical perception is very logical. It's a process of deduction, and it's based entirely in the five senses. The logical perception is based on the things that we can taste, touch, smell, feel, and that we have tactile informational bias upon. These two perceptions can be controlled. But it gets tricky. Because the visual perception is subjective and it's based on symbols, right? And it speaks directly to the subconscious mind. For example, when you're watching a movie and you're seeing certain symbols and things happening, according to what you've been programmed to believe, you're going to interpret those symbols as a certain thing. Now, at the very same time, there's going to be a dialogue in this film. Now, your conscious mind is watching and listening to the dialogue. So no matter what physically happens, you're going to opt to believe the dialogue. Because while they might write a movie with a script and it not be true, right? They call the phenomena of watching a movie putting you in suspension of disbelief. Because you're disbelieving what you're seeing. You're only believing what you're hearing. And that's how we get tricked. We pay too many attention to the words. But anyway, he who rules the definition of symbols controls legions. Let's break it down. With the visual perception, whenever I see a person behave a certain way, you must understand that the behavior is a certain reality. Nobody does something for no reason, right? A lot of people have a hard time controlling their emotional impulses. Especially if they get overwhelmed, they're going to act out. Now, they may later come and apologize or explain it away, but see, that's talking to the logical perception. That's talking to the conscious mind. And they're going to go ahead and believe it and accept the apology. Right? They say once a cheater, always a cheater. They say once a thief, always a thief. Why is that? Because a person may behave a certain way and they may say a different thing. Most of us are going to accept what they say. But somebody with wisdom is going to also take into consideration at least the pattern. The subconscious mind recognizes pattern, recognizes symbols. When you watch this next video, I want you to also understand that there's two messages being played at the same time. Watch the video clips and what's going on, but also listen to the dialogue and what's being said. The dialogue explains the system. The video is going to explain the story of a person awakening, like Neo in the Matrix, to a person ascending and meeting God himself, challenging him, to a person breaking free. And then it leaves the loophole for it to start all over again, which is the cycle of reality, the breath of Brahma. In, hold, out, hold. This is the very basic nature of reality. Fours: air, fire, water, earth. Y'all gotta understand, we live in a system which is based on a system, which is based on a system ad infinitum. Right? From the Tree of Life to the Kabbalah. Recognize patterns and understand that we live within a finite structure, right? When you see videos about flat Earth, there is a truth to it. Okay? And I'll break it down, I'll define it. The physical body is limited, it is finite. It cannot go everywhere. It damn sure cannot go into outer space because the physical body wasn't built for that. There are limits to this reality, right? The limit, vertical, is air. When they speak of the firmament, there's a certain level that the physical body and matter cannot transcend. Cannot transcend. It'll begin to break down. It'll begin to dissolve. It will cease to function physically. That's the limit of air. If you want to think about the limit of water to the east to the west, this is going to be what we call Antarctica, right? The barrier of ice is so cold that the physical body and any type of matter can no longer exist. We can't tread that far. You can't wear enough coats to go that deep. The limit of fire is below. You can dig and you can dig and you can dig, but once you hit that lava, that magma, no piece of matter is going to survive beyond that. I don't care what you build, it's going to dissolve and deteriorate under the heat, right? The limit of matter. The deeper you go, the heavier the compression of gravity, which is a main principle of the element of Earth. The deeper you go, the more your matter will begin to implode upon itself. We can't build enough machines. There's submarines and things like that, but even they have a limit. So understand that matter has its boundaries. We are contained in a physical, some would call it a prison, but this is the realm of matter, and it has its limits. This is why we've got the 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth. Each angel represents one of the elements, and they possess the limit of how far the physical body can go. Is it hopeless? Oh, we'll never escape. No. Take these things and understand that they are truths and proofs. But know that there's always a way to place one law against another law, as the Kabbalion says. The only way to transcend the boundary of matter is to use spirit. And that's why it's so important to practice astral travel. The only way to go up, left and right, or down is through spirit. When you look at the original Vedic cosmology, it shows you what levels exist above, below, and to the side. Realm of the gods. The more and more pure the spirit and the soul, right? You're not going up there in your body. I'm sorry, the body's got to die. It's a finite thing. One day it will return to whence it came. This is why we cultivate our spirit, so we can transcend the limit of body. Through astral travel, you're able to ascend and go to higher levels and reach higher things and speak and learn from higher entities. Or you can remain attached to the material world, which is fine if that's what you want to do. And you can choose to either sink to lower levels or reincarnate as what you are right now. But we exist in a realm of energy. Energy is not created or destroyed. It's just reformed, reshaped, and recycled. You, as an existing living human being watching this video, are a culmination of thousands and millions of years of intelligence being cultivated. So what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Are we going to continue to waste time doing things that we don't want to do, know that we're not supposed to do? Or are we going to begin to grab hold of our own energy, analyze and understand our own energy, and realize what is our place in this universe? What are we here for? What are we going to do next? What is my plan for the next 5 years, the next 10 years? Before I breathe my last breath, will I look back on my life and be happy? Will I have content and joy and know that I've done everything that I could? Know that I've fulfilled my purpose? Or will you look back with regret, pain and suffering, fear? Fear of death, fear. Is that what we want? We all know that we're going to die. So why not study what comes next to be prepared? Because death is a motherfucker. He is going to come when you least expect it. Think about the people that have died in your life. None of them knew when it was going to come. This is really deep. And I've gotten into contact with some with some unbelievable entities here lately. To the fact that my life is being rocked. But it's all it's in a good way. It's in a good way. It's in a good way. I can say that much. But understand, we got to gain control of our conscious mind. Because as I was saying, with the subconscious perspective, the visual perspective, and the physical perspective, You got to be aware of which way the energy is flowing. Now, if it's flowing in a negative direction, that means we're being very receptive, because the visual perspective, the subconscious perspective, is magnetic. Okay, it attracts. So for someone who's asleep and not doing spiritual work, they've been given definitions of what symbols mean. Baphomet is evil. The third eye is evil. You know what I'm saying? All these crazy things, Illuminati, right? They've been given these definitions. So whenever they go about their life and they see something, it goes back to the subconscious mind. They believe it, they act upon it, and the cycle continues. Now on the flip side, the logical perspective, the thought process, is positive. When you seek, when you study, when you research, you're positively electrically, right, magnetically, electrically, you're going out into the world of information and you're finding definitions for yourself. So the definitions of symbols now affects the subconscious mind. So when you see something like Baphomet or the third eye or Illuminati, you understand, no, these things aren't evil. They have a message, and I'm going to learn from these things. I don't take it emotionally. I move forward based on the knowledge that I received, right? Now, if you continue a lifestyle of defining for yourself, now you begin to eliminate suffering, needless suffering. Now you begin to gain control over the things that happen in your life. Now you begin to steer where you want things to go. That's why I said in, I think, 2 or 3 videos back, own your world, define your symbols, right? It's like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. The conscious mind gives definition to a symbol. The subconscious mind reacts to that symbol and makes reality, right? But if you begin to define symbols yourself, now you're building your own world. This is a step-by-step process. It doesn't happen overnight. When you see a symbol and you react to it, take a moment to think, what gave me that definition? Where did I learn this from? Why do I feel this way? But yeah, I think that's all for right now. Check out this next video. It's amazing. I saw it last night and was really happy about it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Join the Magus Society on Facebook if you have not already. Check the link in the bio for that. I do consultations and readings. Check my email for that, travismagus777@gmail.com. I'm working on a course to help teach people how to navigate all this information and utilize it properly so that you can perform change and gain real transformation in your life. But that's coming soon. As long as I'm incarnated here, this is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Peace.